All right, so I had a couple of questions about materials review number 1, and I realized that the directions are not all in one place. So what I'm going to do for you, just if we're going into the learning activity, the content section under basic course materials, you see assignments, and underneath that you have rubrics. So if you go down to rubric for MR1, and this is something I've just updated since I've had a couple of questions. The directions were on the syllabus, but I'll show you where they're on the syllabus. If you look on page 9 of the syllabus, there's directions for materials 1 and materials review number 2. But let's look at the actual rubric itself. So if you scroll down under rubric number 1, it has just kind of some guiding thoughts as you go through it. And then there are point values for the description of what I want you to get. So preferably choose a book that you use every day in your classroom, something that your students enjoy, that makes sense to them, and then analyze it for teaching other content, for looking at diversity, for looking at the role of culture, all of those things that are important that we don't always think about in terms of teaching science. I also want to know a content standard. So what could you teach with this specifically for science? So this right here is specific to science, okay? This section is specific to science. As we move down here to 3 content areas, notice I described how I could do life science. This is just the standard. This is the description right here. Okay, so what am I going to use that book for? And I'm also going to look at, okay, well, I could use to teach social studies. If we talk about migration, we could look at it in terms of geography. And then we could look at math as well, because there are calculations that you can do in terms of how many butterflies make it to their breeding grounds and back to where they lay their eggs and so forth and so on. So there's math involved in this. And then there's technology as well, where you can actually track specific butterfly migrations using the internet. There's a website, I have to look at it, I think it's Monarch Watch, that has information on where monarchs move to and so forth and so on. But I just knew that there were these 3 different content areas in addition to science that I could use in that book. So those are the things that I talked about. One of the other things that it shows you on the syllabus that goes over the entire set of materials is I want this to be 2 pages double spaced. Okay, they're 20 points apiece. It's going to be a struggle for you to get to at least to do anything less than 2 pages if you're doing a good job at it. So it can be longer than 2, but not less than 2. I hope this gives you a little bit of clarity for what's expected for materials review number 1. And let me know if you have other questions. Thanks.